Well, good evening, listeners. Welcome back to another episode of A Dicey Experience. This one's a little bit of a sad one because all the rest of your regular players are gone. But I guess it is okay because we have Mr. Mean Green with us. Huzzah.
This is Mean Green. Glad to be here again on A Dicey Experience with the Fates off adventuring elsewhere. Glad to come back to you as Clark Coldwater this evening and get back to what's been going on with him and his story.
Last we saw Mr. Coldwater. Is it Mr. Doctor, Professor?
Lord.
Lord Coldwater. We found him in Linguina where he was there working with the cult that is following the Breaker of the Seas. And in there he found a statue in which gave him a circlet from the statue. Though he was surprised because his patron just told him these were keys to unlock the abilities for his patron to return. And he just assumed he was collecting statues, but was able to encounter and find a circlet that is now giving him a boost in power. He then heard soon after finding the circlet, that one of the Drake Wardens had arrived on the island of Linguina, and he knew this would be a time to prove himself to his master, and ran out and was about to attempt to destroy him, only to find that the ship that the Drake Warden was on was sailing away. With that in mind, he began to step out towards the water to chase after them, only to hear his lord and master call him to head in a different direction, getting ready to attain one of the other keys. Did I elaborate things well, Mr. Coldwater? Is there something I've missed there?
No, I believe that's very much it. Clark is a very kind of tumultuous individual, so I think he's kind of instinctually, just because of the connection between him and his patron, his master, the Breaker of the Seas, he's just has this kind of natural anger and desire to chase after the Drake Warden, but not really even understanding fully why, I think. But then just knowing that, the one thing right now that can give him purpose in the midst of his sorrow of loss from losing his family is to continue to serve his master, as the reborn that he is, and being a warlock. So he pulls out the orb that we referenced in his last portion of an episode, and sees the new location. I guess just like it'll bring up a phantom image of the Kraken, it will also bring up a phantom image of a map, and so he now knows which direction in which to head. So he gives some directions to the cult there in Linguina about cleaning up the operation and maybe where to move next, and hopefully to try to keep some eyes on this traveling group known as the Fates, and then begins to use his orb to set a heading towards the next location that his master's given him. And as he is a form of undead, and is empowered by a Kraken, so very adapted to the water, he will simply, once he's given his directions and set his heading, he will just simply walk off into the ocean in that direction and begin to swim away at a very unnatural speed for a humanoid. And if you were maybe a bird or a sparrow following Clark's progression, you would see him continue to swim at that breakneck speed for hours at a time. Anytime he passes a small landmass, he'll get out, rest for a few hours, and then you'll see him just walk right back in the ocean again, checking his heading with his orb, but just continuing this unnatural underwater swimming at this very fast speed towards this new location, this new target.
Eventually you make your way to a small island that is only really about 3 miles in diameter. The center of this island is a rock formation which has a cave. There is a couple palm trees growing there, some grass, but other than the few seagulls or birds that fly overhead, nothing else seems to really live here. You look at your orb one last time, and you're sitting there on the beach, and you can see it's pointing you in the direction of this cave.
So Clark's are pretty minimalist when he swims up out of the out of the sea. He kind of he is a little bit of a vain individual, so he kind of makes sure that there's no seaweed hanging off of him, brushes himself off and everything. And as soon as he checks his heading and knows that that's the direction, you see him begin to walk confidently in that direction.
Begin to make your way forward. I need you to make me a dexterity check.
Just a baseline dexterity check.
Yeah,
okay?
dexterity saving throw.
Okay, saving throw. Okay, cool. Okay, so that's +2. Oh yeah, that'd be a 4. We're starting hot today.
Awesome, great. You step forward and you step into a pile of leaves, and right when you do, you notice that one of the palm trees is kind of bent over a little bit. And right when you finish your step, it begins to snap up high into the air, and a rope grabs around your ankle, and you begin to fly high into the air. I need you to take. You're going to take. Lucky for you, 3 points of bludgeoning damage to fly high into the air, and then slam against the tree trunk of this palm tree. Now you are now hanging upside down, and huzzah! You have been caught in my trap.
So
The look on his
So,
face, ladies
Clark-
and gentlemen, is
Oh,
fantastic.
oh man, and Clark too. So number one, he is probably doing some Samuel L. Jackson level cursing. And I would say he would probably do a quick spin, like the guy who's like has just like tried to slide down the banister and fallen. So he's actually like probably doing this like look around to make sure nobody's popping out, like there's not an immediate source of someone had laid this trap. And if there's not, then he's going to assume that this was dumb pirates, and just probably be cursing up a storm at these phantom pirates. So, but when I look around, does anything immediately pop out as though this trap was laid?
No, you now have a good perspective of the ground below you. It's definitely, been a long time since somebody's walked on this ground. The grass is relatively high. The sky's clear. The clouds are nice and thick, but providing a little bit of shade, but not too much, and it's not too hot. It's almost like a perfect weather day. But yeah, there's nobody else around.
He will immediately, upon realizing that there's nobody else around, cast or use his ability Grasp of the Deep and create a tentacle that will, again, everything that he does with magic, it looks black and inky as though a tattoo has been drawn upon the world. And so he'll summon a tattoo actually out of the trunk of the tree to reach up and cut the or attack, essentially undo the rope. And at the same time, he's going to try to brace himself against the tree that he's now vertical with, so that as he begins to fall, he can flip over and catch himself as he comes down.
Yeah, you make an acrobatics check with advantage.
All right, very good. Glad I got advantage.
It's your fancy tentacle thing. I imagined it would help you.
So a 16 in total.
Yeah, that's great. What does your superhero landing look like?
Just as because he's timing it with his tentacle that he summoned, he will kick off. He'll put his hands against the tree and kick off with the other foot as it's tying around the ankle, and so essentially he just turns a half flip and just lands gracefully and straightens himself up again and begins to again walk confidently forward for the second time.
Dirt cloud kind of flies high in the air as you land. As it come walking out, it's kind of cool to see the dirt cloud kind of fading behind you, making your way forward to this wonderful cave. When you arrive at the cave, there is a small riddle on the door. You realize that it's got it's a kind of a gray stone face, kind of rough on the outside, and there is a door that looks dwarvish made, that is kind of slid in the way of the whole of this cave. There are runes that are going around. What languages do you speak?
Common, Elvish, and Abyssal.
There are abyssal scripts kind of around the edge of the door frame here. says, "What is yours, but is mostly used by others?" In Abyssal, it says, "What is yours, but is mostly used by others?"
What is yours, but is used by others? Yeah, and I would say this is kind of a unique experience for Clark because prior to becoming in the service of the Breaker of the Seas, he did not speak Abyssal or write it or anything like that. So the fact that he can comprehend this language, a short few years later, is still quite fascinating to him. What is yours, but mostly used by others? Yeah, he's going to try to riddle that out. And I don't know if I roll to try to work on that, or if Will's just sitting here, or if Mean Green's just sitting here figuring this out. But he's going to try to riddle that out. What is yours, but is mostly used by others? Perhaps your time?
The runes do not seem to react.
Okay. Maybe he rolls a history check to try to remember if he's ever heard a similar riddle before?
Would you like to roll a history check to see if you've heard a riddle like this before?
Sure, that'd be fantastic. I'm really good at those history checks. Except when I don't roll very high, but still I have a whole bunch in that one. So, a 14?
You're kind of mulling over this a little bit, and you look. You haven't quite heard this riddle, but there's a vine that seems to be covering up a little bit more of Abyssal. So, move it. It says, "Speak it."
It's yours, but is mostly used by others. Speak it. Your name. He'll speak his name.
Awesome. When you do, the runes begin to glow. You say name, and then the word "speak it" begins to flash. Speak your name. What do you say?
Clark Coldwater, servant lord of the Breaker of the Seas.
The stone in front of you begins to creak and groan as it scrapes against the wall behind it, kind of moving slowly to the right as it finishes opening. A stale, dead smell enters your nostrils. You kind of breathe it in for a moment. It's almost like the air has not even had a chance to release from this area and gone. Finally, when you finish coughing and you catch your breath, ahead of you, do you have dark vision?
Do I have dark vision? I do not believe so, no, because I would be half elf. Reborn does not do anything with that, so no, I do not.
Huh? You squint your eyes and it is dark ahead. You can't quite see what's in there except for the stone flooring in front of you. Here's some soft drippings of the stalactites, or is it stalagmites, whichever one's above.
Mighty hanging onto the ceiling. Yeah, okay, yeah. So stalagmites. Let's see. Are there any torches around, as though someone had left a way to make their you'll often see that with caves and stuff, that if it was used for something, there will be an old torch around that maybe could be lit or something like that.
No, you actually don't see a torch near you.
Clark will pull out his orb and let the phantom thing pop out. That should, I think, give him enough dim light to begin to move forward and be able to see well enough.
You pull out your orb, you get a little bit more, but you can kind of see like it's going to give you enough to be able to walk in steps so you know at least what's right in front.
Yeah, maybe like 10 to 15 feet worth of vision. Yeah, something like that.
Step through the threshold, down far onto the cave. You begin to hear a loud whirring type sound. Something is what we imagine now in the day of age, kind of like it's like a generator.
Ooh, okay.
You see a light come behind you and begin to go, and it borders the edge of the cave. It's kind of dim, so it dimly lights up the area, kind of like you're on an airplane, and those lights that light up walkways there when it's dark and everybody's asleep. Kind of begins to line up. Again, not super bright, but bright enough that you kind of squint and see.
Yep, and kind of march the direction forward. Sure, okay. All right, well, Clark will begin to cautiously make his way forward.
As you enter the doorway, you discover that it is of stone make. It is
odd because you would expect for a dwarven pathway to be chiseled, smoothed, and made comfortable to walk on. But instead, you discover that this pathway is not that way. Rather, it's not clean cut, almost unstable, and rocky in some places. As you venture forward, eventually you hit a piece of stone that sinks a little bit and goes click. Make me a dexterity check.
Okay. That'd be a saving throw again, correct? Yeah, okay. Dex save. Okay. It's a 17.
17, you're able to duck fast enough as a single arrow it zips right past you and crashes the wall on the other side.
Whew.
Kind of looking around you and you're realizing that there are a lot of little holes for the next 6 feet or so along the edges of the walls. What do you do?
Okay, so he did that. He did a little pirouette and was able to miss the thing, but I didn't actually move the foot that was planted. So I guess he will try to take a step. He'll keep that foot planted that's on the trigger. Try to take a step far enough back where that's the thing that's furthest out in front of him, and then pick that foot up and make sure that that trigger doesn't do anything else when he lets go of it.
Yeah. So when you lean back and you lift your foot from the other side of the wall, another arrow comes flying across, clatters against the wall. Ooh, as you're looking, okay. Now that you look at them a little bit closer, they're not just arrows; they're crossbow bolts. Alec.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So he's going to. Yeah, he's going to take his quarterstaff now, and standing as far back as possible, he's actually going to push that same trigger again to see if the same thing happens, or if they were only loaded for a single round.
Yeah. You push, and I think comes out from the other side here.
Okay.
So
okay, cool. Okay. Is there? So I guess, man, I sensed that through the click. He's going to, as best he can, the dim light, study that switch, and then look ahead. Is there any way to sort of pick out? Is there anything distinctive about that switch that would make the others detectable? I guess is what I'm trying to get to.
Yeah, you can make an investigation check if you'd like.
I'd love to. All right. Investigation. I think I'm pretty good at that one. I am pretty good at that one. All right. Sweet. But not when I roll really low. 10 total.
You can tell it's a different type of color, but when you're looking out ahead of you, it's kind of hard to see with the blend of the different colors in the stone, which one's kind of which.
And with the dim light, I would assume too.
Yeah, it makes it harder to see.
Can I see how far those holes along the wall go? Is it further than my dim light will let me see?
Yes. But it doesn't feel like it's going to be much further than the dim light.
Okay, if I had to estimate, based on my depth perception, how far can I see? Is it 10 feet, 15 feet?
You've got about 5 feet of dim light, right? Yes.
Yeah.
5 feet of dim light.
Okay, so really only probably about 10 feet away that these holes go to.
Yes.
Okay. Then just to be on the safe side, but hopefully not actually pop up in somebody's mouth, I'm going to cast Misty Step and go forward about 18 feet.
Yep, you clear it, you land on the other side, and there aren't any more triggers on the floor.
Awesome.
And you begin to hear that bloop, 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 bloop of the waters dripping off the stalagmites again.
Very good.
You
and
go ahead.
He's gonna, realizing now that this has probably been engineered now to test and weaken a potential intruder. That's kind of been his getting over his cursing at the pirates and realizing this is probably not dumb pirates. This is actually by design to weaken the person that's trying to make their way into this fortress of whatever kind it is. He's going to proceed forward pretty slowly and cautiously at this point.
Okay. You're going to begin to wind kind of down in your walk here, and begin to kind of hear water kind of falling. And it looks, if you're listening, it'd be probably on your right side as you begin to travel deeper into this cave. Eventually, you kind of see a bright light kind of around the bend. You approach it.
So just kind of a glowing light around a bend.
Around
Okay.
the bend, like it seems like the light is much brighter than the dim.
Okay. I mean, he's gonna have to make his way around. So, yeah. So he'll slowly start to inch his way around and try to peek around the corner as as inconspicuously as possible.
As you begin to look around the corner, you see a waterfall pouring into a clear pool of water. The clear water is hard to look at. There's almost like a very bright light in the center of it that makes it kind of hard to look into the room and to see. It's almost like staring up at the sun. It's almost that bright.
Okay.
Kind of tell as you're squinting, and it looks like there's some things kind of swimming around in the water that you can't quite tell what that might be. And you hear... Oh, make a perception check for me.
Okay. Perception. 18.
Surprisingly, you kind of hear some zzz, 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 almost zapping, arcing type sounds coming from the pool.
Ooh. Okay. Okay.
Even though it's very faint over the sound waterfall that's crashing down into this large pool of water.
Gotcha.
But there is, on the other side of the pool, looks like the path continues.
Okay. And would you say, so you described how bright this is, and I'm squinting, especially being in the dark or in the dim light. But would the light invoke the idea of a lightning flash as I'm hearing these sort of zapping noises as well?
No, the light itself is steady. It's consistent.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay. So, how big is this? Can I see how big the room sort of is?
The room is about 60 feet in diameter.
60 feet in diameter. Okay. So it would be a 70-ish foot trek for me to get from the cover of one hallway to the cover of the other hallway at least. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Very good. In that case, yeah, we're gonna see. Okay, so we're gonna send a little something in there. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's cast minor illusion, and I would say right about the midway point, we're gonna create the vision of a displacer beast that's upset because his teeth are hurting. So he's making whatever sort of roaring noises displacer beasts make.
Okay. You want to perform that for me? Yeah. That continues over. There's now kind of the light arcing sound you hear and the crashing waterfall.
Nothing reacts to this displacer beast. Okay. All right. Very good. Well then, Clark will let that illusion disappear, and he'll begin to cautiously make his way out into the room.
Yeah. Looking at the water, it looks like it's going to get deeper as you walk forward. Do you plan on walking into the water?
Oh, okay. So the entire floor of the room is covered in the water.
Yes, there's a large pool of water that's covering the entire floor of the room. You have your path, and then on the other side of this pool of water is the path continuing. But it is a 60-foot diameter pool of water. I'm sorry. It's a relatively large, like, little pond type situation.
So, interesting. Okay. In that case, I'm going to get up to the edge of the water and see if I can, especially now that in the bright light, hopefully my eyes are starting to adjust a little bit, see if I can see what this is kind of swimming around in the water once I get relatively close to it, but not into it.
Yeah. Make an investigation check for me.
Yeah, got it. Investigation 14.
14. As you look at the thing swimming around, it's some salmon that's kind of swimming around in the water there. It looks like they've laid their eggs on the far side, and some of them are beginning to kind of try to jump back towards up the waterfall. But as you're looking in the water, You see the eggs on the ground. You kind of see some mossy stuff down below, kind of that slippery dirt type situation that kind of grows on top of the surface of like stone. And laying beneath that looks like a metal grate of some sort that kind of lines the bottom of this pool.
Ah, so that's why it's not rising any higher than it is with this huge waterfall rushing it. Makes sense. Okay. Metal grate. Interesting.
You still hear the arcing sound, and it's a lot louder now that you're closer to the pool.
Okay. Okay, then I will... Yeah, I'm very confused by the arcing sound, so I will kneel down and try to gingerly as possible touch the surface of the water.
Okay. Yeah, you reach out and touch the surface of the water, and a little lightning bolt strike comes up from the metal grate, and you take 2 points of lightning damage.
Right on.
Shocks your hand. Lean back a little bit. Kind of tingles. Your hand goes to sleep for a second, and you're having to shake it to wake up.
Doing that. Man, he did not want anybody getting in this place. Okay. What to do? Give me just a second here to look at a couple of options I have. Okay, so you said a pretty large waterfall. Oh, one more point of clarification. Is the light emanating from the waterfall or from, you said, the center of the pool?
Center of the pool, and it is still bright enough that you can try to look at what it is. It doesn't. You can't quite tell what it would be because it's so bright just staring at it.
Right, it'd be kind of like looking at a lighthouse bulb where it's like, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Okay. So, okay. How big around is the area of the waterfall? Like, so in other words, if you, so say coming out of a water hose, the diameter of the stream flowing out of a water hose is 1.5 inches or 2 inches. How, as best I can tell, how big around is the area of falling water from the waterfall?
About 20 feet across.
Oh, big. Okay, big. Okay.
Thick enough that fish are able to kind of jump in it to try to swim back up.
Right. Okay. Okay. I am going to play around with. So you said the water right in front of me is not very deep, but it gets deeper. Can I? So I can see the metal grate. Can I see? Like, do I think the maximum depth is like 5 feet?
Yes, like if you're looking and you can kind of see that the light is towards the bottom of this, it kind of grows down. You feel like if you were at the center, it definitely would be above your head. I guess you would probably estimate it's probably around 10 to 15 feet with that bright light in the middle. It's kind of hard to tell what the bottom might look like, but you know for sure that eventually you're going to get to a point where you'd have to swim.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Here's what he's going to try. So he's going to try to cast Shape Water. So I'm just going to read this to you and tell you what I'm going to try to do, and we're going to see how it goes.
Okay.
So it says you choose an area of water that you can see within range that fits within a 5-foot cube. You manipulate it in one of the following ways. You instantaneously move or otherwise change the flow of the water as you direct, up to 5 feet in any direction. This movement doesn't have enough force to cause damage. You cause the water to form into simple shapes and animate it at your direction. This change lasts for up to 1 hour. You change the water's color or opacity. The water must be changed in the same way throughout. This change lasts for 1 hour. You freeze the water, provided that there are no creatures in it. The water unfreezes in 1 hour. If you cast this spell multiple times, you can have no more than 2 of its non-instantaneous effects active at one time. You can dismiss such an effect as an action. So essentially what he's going to try to do is create this 5-foot cube and essentially have that volume of water create a pocket. So in other words, sling outward in a spinning motion and create a cavity that he can go through. And so the first thing he's going to do is, obviously where it's more shallow right in front of him, clearly he can redirect that water. So he's going to create a hole in the water all the way down to the ground and move all the water off.
Okay.
and then he's going to go ahead and touch the ground, knowing that it still may be moist, and see if he takes any damage or any pain from that interaction.
There's a bunch of kind of sparks that fire out of that hole for a moment before you're able to see them kind of settle down. They kind of arc around the edge of this hole that you've made. You watch as this grate that was kind of down below, parts of it begin to snap because it gets so hot and break in places, like a light bulb does when it gets too hot and it snaps out.
Oh yeah, okay.
And so kind of in those spots, you see that's where the arcs begin to come high, and then they slow down enough to kind of take on and follow out to the rest of the grate, where those connections are now disconnected. It almost feels like it's hot if you were to try to grab the grate, but not hot in the sense of like hot of a spark being able to hit you from that part of the grate anymore.
Or like melting my shoes or anything
Yes.
like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I can step out onto the grate without it giving or falling through. There's enough there to hold my weight and for me to stand on.
Yes, the grate is just sitting on top of the rock surface.
Right. Okay. So essentially what he's going to do is just basically one step at one, or I guess 2 steps at a time. Since he can have 2 effects of this spell going at one time, he's going to create another empty circle and take a step. And as long as he's okay, he's going to let the first one disappear, and then he's going to create another empty circle and take a step. And he's going to see how far out he can get without any issues.
Is this a cantrip or is it a?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it's shape water. It's a cantrip. Yeah.
Perfect.
So yeah.
Yeah, you do this for a while, and after you've done this about 10 times, you begin to notice that the light in the center begins to just flicker a little bit, in and out for a second, and it looks now like the light's a little more unstable.
Okay. As though I'm short-circuiting
Yes.
things along the way. Yeah, okay. When I get to that point, have I made it halfway across yet?
Yeah, I'd say you're about. We said about 10 of those, and each one's about 5 foot across. We said it was about a 60-foot diameter. And this 10 times 5. Let's say it's less than that, because that's
Almost across the room.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost across from. So about halfway through, you begin to really notice it flickering a lot.
Okay, and so I would be relatively close to it at this point as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I assume it's getting okay. I'm this close to it now. I'm sure like it's hard to even look at, especially because the closer you get, just the more the lumens are gonna cause it to hurt your eyes or whatever. Am I getting any sense of, is it actually a light bulb, or do I get any sense of what it is at this point?
Yeah, it's just a big old light bulb. It's being
It's a
powered.
big old light bulb.
It's got kind of a socket that seems to be powered by this grate. It seems like the grate reacts to the water, and the water is what keeps this grate cool, so it can power up this light. Though you can't, from your position that you're at, kind of gauge where that power might be coming from.
Okay,
You know, you've got the waterfall on your left, you got a hard rock surface on your right.
Right. Okay. Yeah. As long as it's going okay, he'll probably cast Shape Water a couple more times to make sure he gets well within 30 feet of the other side, and then he'll just go ahead and Misty Step over. Which, by the way, just so you don't get confused later, one of my things one of the patron things I have is Rift Walker. You can cast Misty Step at will without expending a spell slot, so that's why I'm using a lot of Misty Step.
That's perfect.
So
Makes sense.
yeah, so I'll go ahead and get maybe 5-10 more feet, and then Misty Step on across to the other side there.
Okay, perfect. You make your way to the other side, and kind of notice that you'd been going down for a while. Now it's kind of arcing back up a little bit.
Okay.
You've traveled in the ocean long enough in your lifetime to recognize when you're traveling in a different space. You begin to get this sense as you're walking down this hallway, this pathway, that you are no longer walking underneath the island itself, but rather underneath the ocean.
Okay. Yeah, I've moved down far enough and out far enough that they would no longer. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, very good. So I mean, he knows this is his purpose. This is what he's supposed to be doing. So he's gonna keep easing forward.
After a while, you reach a point where you step down, and the ground, I feel like if you give it any more pressure, it'll fall beneath you.
Interesting. Okay.
What do you do?
So is it sandy?
It's almost odd because you've been walking on this stone, and now it feels like, yeah, almost a little say like dry mud.
Okay, so
almost like a clay at this point.
but like a dry clay, like when I step on it, it's
It's
cracking.
beginning to
and giving.
crack, and like if you push down, it will give way.
Interesting. Okay. Well, he'll back up to where where he's still feeling pretty solid on the stone, and take his quarterstaff and reach out and kind of do the dipstick kind of thing, and just push down and see if he can tell is this actually like a trap, or is this just something to do with the geography. If he does push down with some force with his quarterstaff, does it give and just sink all the way in as far as he pushes? Kind of that sort of thing.
Yeah, you reach out with your quarterstaff and you push down. A good chunk of it kind of breaks away and falls down. Kind of hear it crash down below. You move in close because that dim light is now kind of begin to surround you again, and you get your orb and you kind of lean down, and you look, and there are spikes kind of coming up from below the surface there. And this is looking across. This material seems to go about 10 feet across, covering the pathway you've got to walk.
And I would say that's probably about as far as I can see. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Fun. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So, can I find any loose stone? Just I mean, is there any rock fall on the edges of the path?
There's rocks and shells and different kind of scattered about.
Okay, so he'll grab the heaviest thing that he feels like he can find that he can throw. Obviously not like a boulder or something, but whatever good sized rock that's got some weight to it, and see if I can chunk it past the 10-foot mark, and just to see if there's something right past this false floor, basically.
Give me a strength check or an attack melee attack. I'm a strength melee attack.
Yeah, let's just do a strength check. That'll be fun. I am not good at those, and what the heck, it sounds fun.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, don't roll a 1. But instead roll a 9, which -1 will be an 8 total.
Okay. Yeah. So you feel like, yes, I'm gonna make it like 10 feet across, and you go and you get ready to wind up, and you throw your rock, and it goes like 3 feet. It's that
Crashes through the floor.
Crashes to the floor. You kind of hear it, and it kind of like hits something, and you kind of see part of the floor waver back and forth, but then kind of stand up straight, and a big chunk of this dirt just come crashing down. But it looks like there's a piece of stone surface close to where you threw that you can hopefully hop to.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that would be good, because then I would probably be able to see a little further. So yeah, Clark will try to hop there. That's good. He's pretty good at acrobatics.
Make me a acrobatics or just with your jump.
Well, see, I've got regular 30 speed, so I think you're supposed to be able to jump. Is it 10 feet? A third of your total movement? Is that right?
No, jump has to do with your strength score.
Oh, okay. So strength is an 8, so that's a -1 modifier. So I don't know how far I can jump.
When you make a long jump, you can cover a number of feet up to your strength score. You move at least 10 feet on foot immediately. Jump.
Okay. So do I feel like 8 feet will get me to this platform?
Yeah, it's about 3 feet away. So.
Okay. Yeah.
You're
Okay.
able to make
Well,
the
then,
jump.
yeah.
Relatively good. You get on it, and it feels like the surface kind of leans forward and wobbles a little bit. It's like it's not super steady, but it's holding your weight at this point.
This is the high ropes pillar. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Great. Okay. But I guess I can probably see a little more clearly now how far the false floor goes, and does it look like? Can I see anything past that at this point?
False floor, it looks like in total goes about 10 to 12 feet. So
Okay.
you realize that if you're going to continue this way, you're going to have to find several spots like the one you're on.
Right.
To make it across.
Yeah, basically, I'm trying to figure out if the floor looks solid and like there's nothing on it when I get to the end of this thing. Because I can Misty Step over there. I just want to make sure I'm not Misty Stepping into something worse that I'm already sitting in.
Correct. If you were to reach the other side, you would not land on a broken space.
Gotcha. Okay, then yeah, all right. Then I'll head on over. I'll go ahead and Misty Step over to the other side there.
Okay. Side. Now, Ems, can you Misty Step again?
Indefinitely. You can cast Misty Step at will without expending a spell slot.
Okay.
That's one of my patron things.
Wow. Is that just a warlock thing in general, or is that part of the class?
It's the. I think it's the Kraken Warlock. Well, I've heard of Riftwalker before. I think there's multiple Warlock subclasses that can get that bad boy. But anyway, yeah. So it's one of the ones that they picked out for the Kraken.
Okay. That's kind of cool. All right. So yeah, make it to the other side. Huzzah!
All right, very good.
You, at this point, there's been that slight humming sound since the beginning. The woo. You know, I mean, you didn't really hear it. Was at the waterfall, but now you've reached a point where it's getting almost obnoxiously loud. Not super annoyingly, but it is loud enough that you feel like when you go around this next bend, you're going to see whatever might be making this noise.
Okay. It just kind of hit me. Has Clark... Now, maybe we want to do a history check on this, and then maybe I decide based on a roll or something. I don't know, but would Clark have ever seen anything powered? Like in his life? He spent his life on the seas doing selling ships and stuff like that. Would he have seen anything powered by electricity before?
That you'd have to make almost a history check for yourself, and that I would say it's not a very common thing in the world.
Okay, so maybe like a high DC history check. Yeah. That's okay. Okay. What do you think? Like 17, 18?
We'll go with 18.
Of that nature?
Yeah, we'll go with 18.
Let's do 18. Okay, awesome. I like that. That's actually possible. I have some expertise or proficiency or whatever, extra proficiency, whatever they call it. That's let's do it. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get it. 19 plus 7, 26.
Gosh,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
So,
This may be the second time you've heard a noise like this, and it's taking you a while as you've done this walk to know that it's familiar and you've recognized it before, but you're not quite sure what it is. You realize that at one point you guys, in your past history, right, before you became a reborn, and this image comes to your mind prior to being lost, and you know from your own perspective that memories seem to be locked away, and it's almost like you're having to pull at your brain to get any information out of it sometimes.
yes, like I had these almost I don't know if debilitating is the right word, but like very shocking flashbacks. Yeah, where I get little bits of stuff. Yes, yeah.
As this flashback is happening, your body instinctually continues to walk forward, and you find yourself getting off of a boat and talking to another foreman, and it's odd. You guys are unloading this box, and there's this large pillar thing, and they say, "Yeah, that's the new lighthouse." And you hear this noise in the background. You're kind of going, "What?" Asking that question of what is that noise? What's that about? And the guy kind of responds with, "Yeah, they got this newfangled thing they call a generator. It seems to be powering this large light bulb at the top of this large tower, and it is loud and it takes a lot of fuel, but they say it's supposed to last a lot longer than lighting a torch through the night. So
Okay.
but 2,000 times longer than a torch lighting through the night. So kind of watch it kind of burn bright all night long, and you kind of remember the spinning of the of that bright light. As that final spin comes through, you begin to kind of come to, and now you're standing in the middle of this strange room. No longer is it just stone walls around you. Now there's these metallic boxes that are kind of all around you. There's some bright lights and flashing lights that are in the room around you. And in the center of the room, there seems to be this large pipe that you notice that there's this steel begins to close around. But as you barely notice behind it, there's almost like a green liquid. Make a perception check for me.
Okay. 17, 12 plus 5. Yep.
Okay. And you see, as the last steel door kind of closes, a gnome that is old, and malnourished, almost to the point that you're seeing its rib cage, and it's almost like its gut is kind of sucking in on the inside. There's this long tube that kind of goes over his mouth, covering the nose and the mouth area there, and he's kind of floating in this water. Just got a loincloth on. His face is sunken in. His bones and skin can be sinking around the body. It seems to be that whatever he's attached to in there seems to be keeping and giving him life, just brief enough for this last steel thing to close around him. And as you look down in front of you, suddenly you kind of hear a right in front of you. And as you look down from that spot and right in front of you, there stands a little metallic man who's about 3 feet tall. He's got wires coming out from the top of his head and leading back that almost looks like it's been tied up into a braid. Its facial features look similar to the man you just saw, but not sunken in, but almost full, as it's kind of got a gold sheen to the coloration of the face. Body is well built out and armored all the way down. The feet are round, almost like it's got shoes on, but they are metallic. Its chest piece has got this crystal in the center of it, and it seems to be powered by it. A long cable is being detached from the backside of this metallic thing that is standing in front of you, and one hand looks like an actual hand, but the left hand that's reaching out looks like a cannon, and a bright light begins to power up. From the inside, it gets brighter and brighter and brighter. The creature in front of you says, "Intruder alert. Target acquired." And it fires. Let's see. It winds up, and does an 11 hit?
It does not.
This blast flies past you and crashes behind you. You feel almost like this huge force damage come from the cannon and crash behind you and knock some of the rocks crumbling the wall below you. Behind you, excuse me. And let's roll for initiative.
Yeah. Woohoo! Oh, we're doing good stuff tonight. We are doing good work tonight, folks. You have come for the show, and the show you shall get.
All right. Well, what is your initiative?
That's going to be a grand total of 3 with a natural 1.
Okay. Well, the creature in front of you got an 18. So, oh my gosh. Okay. Very cool.
We're having fun, folks. We're having fun.
Notice it's got a lettering on its chest that is SLM1.
SLM1. That seems important.
Yep. And its mouth doesn't. It looks like its mouth doesn't move, but rather a bright light, kind of not a super bright light, but a light flashes as if a mouth is opening and closing on a small piece of glass that's kind of going over where the mouthpiece should be.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it says, "You have entered. You have this area is sanctified by the Breaker of the Seas. You have entered his domain. It is now up to SP Mark 1 to eliminate you." Going to cast Cautious Caustic Brew on you.
Cautious Caustic.
Yeah. I need you to make me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. Okay. Dexterity saving throw. Okay, here we go. Dexterity saving throw. Oh, baby! You guys came for the show, you're going to get the show. So that would be a natural 1. I, however, am going to use one of my uses of Mouth of the Void, which I get from the Kraken. A mouth opens in the palm of your hand when you are subjected to a spell effect that allows you to make a saving throw to take only half damage. You can use your reaction to have your hand eat part of the spell, Instead, take no damage if you succeed on the saving throw, or half damage if you fail. This feature can be used a number of times equal to your charisma modifier.
You're gonna take half.
Yes.
Okay. So, just in a line, it's like acid shoots out of the cannon that just fired at you. And it throws and it covers your entire body. Going to take 2d4 damage. So it's 7 points of acid damage. You're gonna take half of that.
So do I round up or down? 3 or 4?
Round down.
Okay.
Take 3.
3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the start of each of your turns, you're going to 2d4 acid damage unless you take an action to scrape it or wash it off yourself.
Okay.
And then he's going to fire his force ballista at you again as a bonus action.
And that was another dex saving throw, is that right?
No, this is just going to be a ranged spell attack.
Oh, okay.
Does an 18 hit?
Yes.
Okay. With that in mind, you'll be pushed 5 feet away from him as well. It is 4 points of force damage. That slams into you after you've been hit by this acid and you get pushed back 5 feet.
Okay.
You gotta hear it as it turns. Alright, it's your turn.
Very good.
It
Okay.
moves to the left a little bit and you see on the big metal tanks that it has just a small red button in it. Causes red light flashes to flash in the room.
Fine. Okay. So how far away from me is it?
About 35 feet.
35 feet. Okay, perfect. Okay, I will.
Oh, it's your turn, right?
Yes.
You're gonna take 5 points of acid damage.
Okay.
Remember, you gotta use an action to get that taken off.
Right. Perfect. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to use my bonus action. I create a 10-foot long tentacle at a point that I can see within 60 feet. So I'm going to put the tentacle basically in between me and the robot with, but within melee range of the robot. Well, 10 foot because it's got reach. So I will make a spell attack. Get the right number here. Yeah. Okay. So plus. Yeah. Okay. So roll a. Does a 25 hit? I hope.
Oh yeah, 25 definitely hits.
All right. So he takes 8 of what kind of damage? Oh wait, hold on. Oh, so I need. Hold on. I need one. Okay, so he takes 16 cold damage.
16 cold damage?
Yes. And then I will use, that was bonus action, and it does not use the action to do the attack. It's just triggered by the proximity. So I will use my regular action to go ahead and get that acid off of me, because that's no fun. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Very cool. On its next turn, it's going to cast Blur on itself. So you watch his body begins to... He's almost like moving very fast, kind of like when you see the Flash, where his body just kind of moving back and forth and begins to whir a little bit. It takes an action to cast that on himself. It's going to try to move away from the tentacle. About 30 feet away from it, kind of making an angle with you, so almost like moving about 45 feet away from you. Does it have a melee attack that it can do?
You know, it does not specify, so I'm gonna. I guess the default would probably be no.
Okay. All right. So it's moving 30 feet away from the tentacle, 45 feet away from you. It'll kind of move at an angle like that, and it's going to fire that force cannon again. And you watch as the thing powers up, and it's so cold that it's not powering up quite right. And when he tries to fire, it just flies fire off, and then descends and crash against one of the large machines that are flashing lights around you. Sparks kind of fly through the air a little bit. It is your turn.
Very good. Let's see, I've got 2 of those. Oh yeah, let's do this. This is gonna be fun. Okay, so, yeah, okay, so I can see him. Yeah, okay. So yeah, so he needs to make. So I'm gonna cast Rolitham's Psychic Lance. Yeah, and he needs to make an Intelligence saving throw against a 16.
Okay. He got a 10.
Okay, very good. Then he will take 29 psychic damage.
What did you say?
29 psychic damage.
Wow, dude. All right. Try hard much?
I don't like it. Messing me up. What's my spell counter for that? Well, fine then. I guess I'll just keep track of it the old fashioned.
Seems to hit him hard. He grabs his head above him and begins to whir a little bit.
Oh, hold up. Sorry. I forget. That's why I couldn't find my spell slot thing. I gotta remember how warlocks work. Okay, hold on. Actually, he needs to take one. What did I tell you? 29.
Yeah.
Make it an even 30 damage, and yeah, that's I forget that you get very little spell slots as a warlock. That's the part of the gig. Okay, there we go.
Okay. Sounds good. It compromised, and it kind of darts around a little bit, and it moves 15 feet towards you. It makes another fire of its the caustic brew, so another stream of acid comes out of it. You need to make a dexterity saving throw.
Dex saving throw. Okay. Oh, that's much better. Okay, that one is a 16.
Yeah, you dodge that line of acid and it splashes behind you. And at the same time you can hear a woo as it whirs up a little bit. Guessing a 15 does not hit.
Let me think about that for a second.
For that force ballista.
I'm just trying to think what I just have been doing. Nothing I cast was
Adding protection on you.
okay. Yeah, well, so it was, I have a shield with the quarterstaff, but because I just use it basically as a casting device or whatever. I don't do a lot of melee, so I was trying to imagine if Clark would have had his shields equipped. I feel like at this point he's in battle. He would have shrugged that puppy around. So yeah, so the difference would be a 14 and a 16. So if I have my shield up, it's a 16.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll say yeah. So that yeah.
So it does not hit them.
Correct.
Okay. It pings right off your shield. Poof. Like it would have been very bad if it hit against you. It is your turn.
Okay. So let's see. You said he is 30. He got 30 feet away from the tentacle.
Yes.
Okay, so the tentacle can move 20 feet with a bonus action and get within 10 feet of him again. So he will again. It'll trigger it once it gets within 10 feet of him, and he will take. Or no, we will try to attack, and it's my spell bonus. So a 10.
10 damage?
No, a 10 to hit.
No, and you're doing it with disadvantage, right?
Well, I don't know. The tentacle is like a trap trip. Does it rely on sight?
Oh.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And 10 to hit.
Okay.
10 still misses, though.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. So.
Move it as a bonus action, you said?
Correct. Let's see, and I didn't get any damage. I already used my bonus action. So let's do. I got my regular action. Really don't want to do that. So let's do. Oh yeah, let's do that. Okay. So we're gonna do Toll the Dead. So he needs to make a Wisdom saving throw against the 16.
Some saving throw. You got a 13.
Okay, so he's going to take Let's see how high we can roll this bad boy. 6 necrotic damage.
Okay. Still up.
Okay.
All right. It's going to move up to you closer. Cast that toxic brew on you. So you're just gonna fire that acid from his gun again.
All right. Dex saving throw this time is really good. It's a 20, not a natural 20, but a 20.
It crashes right behind you. He's gonna fire at you. I'm gonna switch dice here. And completely miss with his ballista shot.
Okay.
Seems to be kind of swirling a little bit, not aiming quite well. Almost like his body's spinning a little bit.
Okay. Very good. We're going to go ahead and move that tentacle. I don't know how far up he moved. Is it still within 10 feet of him, or do I need to use my bonus?
Oh yeah, the
action to
tentacle.
get it?
No, you don't have to move the tentacle at all. He's still within 10.
Okay, sweet. All right, so then we're just doing that just automatically. So we're gonna do that attack roll. 18 to hit.
18 does not hit.
Okay, fair enough. Yep. Let's just have him make the wisdom saving throw again.
Okay. Oh, great. Yeah. So what happens?
So he'll take it's a D12. Oh, it landed on 12 necrotic damage.
Must be nice. Mean green. Okay. He's gonna fire his last toxic brew. So go ahead and make that dex save.
Dex save. Here we go. Give me something good. Oh Lord. 8. I'm gonna assume that fails.
Yes. Huzzah!
So I'm going to activate that. Well, actually, you know what? Yeah. I'm gonna activate the Mouth of the Void again. So that'll at least half the damage.
Okay. Alright, that is 5 points of acid damage if you half that to 2. And he's gonna fire his. He's gonna move back 30 feet away from you and the tentacle.
Okay.
And he's going to fire that ballista. That shot. Oh, let's go! 18 plus.
Nice.
So that is 2 points. Or sorry, 2d8. 8 points of force damage. When you push back
all
5
right.
feet.
Alright, and then that's my turn now.
Yes, it is your turn. Right.
Alright, cool. So I should be able to get. I'll have to use the bonus action, but I can get the my tentacle within 10 feet again, correct?
Yeah, he's moved. Yep.
Okay, good. Alright, so I will use the bonus action for that, so we'll trigger that attack. 10, so that's gonna miss. So that using my bonus action, restarted my turn, so I've got both of those back. But man, the action economy on these warlocks is insane. Okay, so I still have but I got acided again, huh?
That's right. So you take. Thank you for the reminder.
You're welcome.
4 points of acid damage.
Fair enough. All right. So I'm gonna use my action to get that acid off because I don't like that.
Okay. How do you get it off?
Very good. Same way I did last time.
Just pushing it off with your hands.
Yeah, just.
Yeah. Perfect.
Maybe with the quarterstaff, like try not to touch it because I don't want it to get worse. So like quarterstaff, like rub it off.
Sounds good. All right.
All right.
Very cool. Up of his round, he's going to move 30 feet back. He's going to see a crossbow bolt, which kind of pulls forward in the cannon, and he fires that at you. I'm guessing a 24 hits.
Oh yeah.
Right. Going to take 13 points of piercing damage.
Ew.
And he's going to fire force ballista. and poof, it crashes behind you again. It says,
Okay. Oh, you said he moved back, correct?
yes.
Okay. In that case, okay. If you're cool with it, I'm going to use my reaction to activate Guardian Grasp. So essentially, that my tentacle, because it's between me and him, can make an attack roll and remove that number of HP from the attack. So it kind of knocks the bolt off course, essentially. So basically, whatever I roll on a D8, I can add that back to my health if you're cool with that, and use that reaction.
Okay.
Sweet. Okay, so that's going to give me 5 points back. That's very good. Sweet. All right. Awesome. So then it's my turn again?
Yes.
Okay. And he did not hit with any acid or anything that time. So, okay. So I will roll bonus action, roll the tentacle back up to him. That'll be natural 20, baby.
Nice.
That's what I'm talking about.
Double the dice, baby.
So double it up. Okay, so 2. Wow, that's a bunch. How about 35 cold damage? That tentacle went bananas.
35 cold damage?
Yeah, 3d8. I rolled really low last time.
Okay.
No. Let me roll that. Sorry. I miscounted. I was adding. One more time, sorry. 20 cold damage. 20 cold damage.
Wait, okay. Its body begins to... It's almost like it's not moving quite right. Struggling to move.
Okay. Well, let's have it make a wisdom saving throw again.
Okay, are you sure? It's a 13.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. 6 necrotic damage.
Alright, how does this necrotic damage take it out?
I'm gonna say since it's starting to kind of fritz out and stuff, and so let's just say it specifically just because Clark uses all his magic is this kind of inky, the tattoo inky stuff. So we'll just say that necrotic damage from Toll the Dead cracks that acid ampule within this stupid thing, because I hate that acid, and just lets the acid run through the electronics and the components of this thing, so its own acid just kind of eats it from the inside and boils out of it as it falls apart.
It's to fall apart. Perfect. It melts and screeches, and it protect the pride, and it blows up as it melts down. The lights stop flashing around. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and Clark is like, "Ooh," he's looking pretty rough, man. He's like, that was crazy. This thing is insane. This place is insane."
The red light stops flashing. Kind of hear a type sound come from inside the tube, and then you hear the glass inside of the tube kind of crack and break. The metal barrier that's on the outside opens back up, and just green liquid pours out as glass and liquid pours onto the ground, and this body kind of just drapes out and slides out in front of you a little bit.
Okay.
And
this was the elderly and gaunt-looking gnoll that I saw.
No.
That I saw on the way in. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
You want to inspect him closer before you walk forward?
Do I want to inspect him closer before I walk forward? I'm not going to step in the green goo without checking things out first. So obviously, I'm going to keep a little distance and try to assess the situation. And so does the mask? You said he had like a CPAP type mask thing going on when he was in the tube and everything. Does all that come off as well? Is he still attached to things?
Looks like it's still attached to his face, but it's snapped from the top where it was connected.
Okay.
And he's just kind of laying on the ground. His eyes have rolled back in the back of his head. It looks like he's not consciously there anymore. If you were to look at him close enough, you kind of see that he's maybe lightly breathing, but you imagine even if you were trying to do CPR, it would not save him.
Okay, so he's cut off from life support. He's not long for this world. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
But on his shirt there is a name tag. insert that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says Spark Legolo.
Ah, interesting. Spark Legolo. Okay.
2 resides. See a light begin to open up. Watch as a stone tentacle begins to rise out of it. Poof, place. You almost pick up this tentacle statue if you'd like to. This one is more of a pink hue to it, with a black something on the inside reflecting.
Interesting. Okay, DM. Let's confer for a minute. So, I'm assuming at some point after being given the new location, I'm not sure how long the travel process was, but I'm assuming it was days, if not weeks. Did the Breaker of the Seas ever confer with me in person via our communication device between Laguna and here?
Between Laguna and here?
Laguna and here, sorry.
No.
Okay, so... Okay. So,
Giving you a direction, he's trusting that you're going to go.
okay, in that case, Clark's going to err on the side of caution, knowing that there could... he feels like he's in the good graces enough, it's not going to matter. But he's going to at least address the Breaker of the Seas before he cracks the statue open. So he will inspect the statue. He will probably touch it, maybe even pick it up if it's not too heavy, check it out real good, but he's going to leave it intact until he confers with the Breaker of the Seas.
You look closer at it, is that pink color. It's kind of got like a bright pink on the outside, but where like the inside of the tentacle has got like a hot pink color where like the stickers might be, the suckers might be. But as you look inside and closer, the black thing on the inside almost looks like a single black glove.
Okay, it's got kind of a gauntlet look going on. That's interesting. Awesome. Also, just for my personal edification, would Clark have any knowledge of Crew's old crew for any reason?
You can roll a history check to see if you would
Sure.
like to.
Let's do that. Because I can't leave an Easter egg like that unturned if he does happen to know something about it. So history, that would be an 18 in total.
At one point in your journey, you worked with a small crew of folks, and they connected you with an artificer named last name Legolo, Arlo Legolo.
Arlo Legolo. Yep.
So you would know of him, but I'm not sure to tell you much about his organization, what the Chaos Clan does.
Fair enough. But yeah, just the connection of the last name, being that he doesn't have to breathe or eat or drink, Clark is a pretty minimalist fellow, but he enjoys moments like that, especially given that his own memory is so fragmented, that when he can recall things like that, it actually brings him some genuine joy. So just a weird moment here with the dead body on the floor and the green stuff oozing everywhere, but he remembers the connection between these Legolos and the artificer thing, and that just makes him happy for a moment. Okay, I think at this point Clark will actually attempt to pull out the communication device and contact the Breaker of the Seas, if he takes my call, basically, to report in on locating these 2 artifacts.
Why don't you roll me Arcana?
You got it, boss. Oh, we're gonna have to see. You guys came for the show. Here's the show. 11.
You try to reach out to him, but it doesn't seem to go through. It's almost like static. And in all honesty, from your experience, he only talks to you when he wants to talk to you.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Man. Okay, Clark, I believe his curiosity and just the simple fact that he's found 2 of the 6 keys is going to get the better of him, and he's going to want to inspect this glove. So, so he'll go ahead and, let's see. It's a glove. He's not going to want to overdo this in any way. So, Honestly, he may take out his carpenter's tools and just start to test how the fortitude of the statue, if that makes sense. Like maybe taking some. His tools are designed for working with wood, so it's going to be kind of slow going. But maybe start to try to test the fortitude of this statue with some chisels or something to see if would be relatively easy to break into.
It's definitely a tough crystal. You feel like you'd have to lift it above your head and throw it down on the ground a couple of times for it to crack open.
You're really gonna have to crack it. Okay. It is not conducive for him to carry this giant statue. Let's see. Okay. One other thing. Let's storyline our way through this. Would it make sense, I guess, that Clark would have any contact with any of the other sort of lieutenants in the cult?
Give me odds or evens.
Odds.
More time?
Odds.
Yes. Yeah, it's a, you know of a Triton. She's reborn as well. Her name is Laquina. She was the princess of the largest underwater kingdom in the world of Shikana. And, man, a monster attacked her kingdom when she was getting ready to become the queen, and it destroyed it. She doesn't know quite exactly what happened or remember it, but she knows that when she woke up, she was called by your master.
Cool. Yeah, so I think Clark will go ahead and contact Quina and simply give a quick kind of message to Quina. It's good to hear from you. Good to see you. I wanted to give you my current location, and he'll give her the map coordinates of where he's at currently, and let her know that he's located the second statue there, that it might be worth sending out a small group of cult members to come and just double check over the sanctuary here, and just to pass around the word to everyone in the cult that the second statue's been located in this location.
Congratulations, Lord Coldwater. I'm glad to hear it. Think we know of another in a place known as the terrarium. Think you could head there next? I still have some business here to deal with for the master.
And then you hear some screaming in the background.
Of course, Aquina. I will head that way immediately.
Thank you, my dear.
You must grab tea again sometime soon.
Of course. I look forward to it. Okay, yeah, so Clark will probably go back outside. He'll take the statue with him, but if...
Before you leave, made your call, you get walk back out. Your, what sounds like sliding doors open up. And kind of a gas exits from that door. Cover your mouth for a moment, and you begin to see another zzzt, 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 Spark Legalo Mark II powering up. And it gets down on one knee in front of you. Looks exactly the same as the old one, except it is quite a bit shinier. And its head bows down in front of you. At your service, Lord Coldwater.
Awesome. Man, yeah, he'll inspect this thing up and down.
I am an autonome designed by the great Spark Legalo. All his memories and knowledge have been downloaded into my databanks. I am, and am not at the same time, Spark Legalo.
Very interesting. Do you have any memory of an Arlo Legalo?
Grandson. On my ex-wife's side.
Interesting. Huh. Runs in the family. Anyway, are you waterproof?
Scanning. Yes. And you watch as he begins to create almost like an air bubble around his body. And like a bubble floats around its head.
Fantastic, Mark II. Well, follow me. we've got things to do. Carry this statue for me if you wouldn't mind.
Yes. Grabs the statue and begins to follow you out.
Fantastic.
It's a great place for us to end. Is there anything you'd like to do?
I agree. No, that is love it. That's a great fading out scene.
Wonderful. Thank you all for hanging out with us, and next time we'll be deadly serious next time.
Yes, we will.